Defence Force Parliamentary Program.
I call the member for Hinkler.
Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy Speaker. I move the motion relating to the Australian Defence Force Parliamentary Program in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper. The bipartisan Australian Defence Force Parliamentary Program offers a unique and often intimate first-hand experience of the challenges of service life. It also gives a broader understanding of the capabilities of the Australian Defence Force and the application of military power on the pursuit of strategic government policy. Between 2001 and the end of 2014, about 340 attachment options were undertaken by federal parliamentarians, 120 by senators and 220 by members of the House of Representatives. Of the 34 participants in 2014, 19 undertook their first attachment and, by all accounts, their experience was excellent. In a bid to better understand the daily demands placed on our defence personnel, exactly 12 months ago yesterday, I boarded Australia's Navy frigate, HMAS Newcastle, as part of the Federal Parliamentary Exchange Program. For much of the time, they conducted work-up exercises under the supervision of the Navy's Sea Training Group. I had access to all operations, a flight on the ship's helicopter support, boarding parties, damage control and the general life of our naval personnel. It was an experience I will never forget.
Absolutely.
The other important element of the program is the annual exchange of up to 15 Australian Defence Force members from all ranks, conducting during a city week, usually in September of each year. The exchange element of the program allows the Australian Defence Force participants to gain a unique insight into the operation of Parliament and the daily working routine of their hosts. The program culminates each year with the military dine-in night. For many, it's an opportunity to experience another fine tradition of the military, receive a commemorative award and share experiences with fellow travellers. At the 2014 dinner, we heard the member for Parramatta, Julie Owens, speak to her 5 previous attachments, starting with her first experience with the Regional Force Surveillance Unit in Arnhem Land. The second speaker was the member for Riverina, Michael McCormick, who spoke of his attachment last year to the Middle East region. So as you can see, Madam Acting Deputy Speaker, the ADF parliamentary program is truly bipartisan. Seconding this motion today is the Labor member for Gellibrand, Tim Watts. Mr Watts took part in a tour of the Middle East and Afghanistan in April of this year. Like all of us who have been fortunate to participate in the program, Mr Watts was moved by the camaraderie and dedication of our diggers, describing them as our modern-day Anzacs. And I thank him for his support here today. I'd also like to thank the member for Forrest, Nola Marino, for her contribution today. Ms Marino has participated in the parliamentary program every year since her election in 2007, travelling to places like Afghanistan, and this year she boarded the USS Mercy in Papua New Guinea. Madam Acting Deputy Speaker, it is this Parliament that deploys our defence personnel to often dangerous and hostile locations. I think it is essential for members of Parliament to have at least a rudimentary understanding of the conditions we ask them to work in the defence of our great nation. It is equally important that we at least try in some way to walk in their shoes, so we can better understand what some of our constituents may have experienced. My electorate, for example, has a larger than average veteran community. Now, they may have retired from service, but every day they continue to make valued contributions to social life and local life. And they inspire our young people. The number of young Hinkler residents applying to join the Australian Defence Force continues to increase significantly. In the 2012-13 financial year, 575 Hinkler residents applied, compared to 744 in the 2014 financial year. So far, more than 50 young people from my electorate have applied for the Coalition's reinstated ADF Gap Year program. While national security is one of the top issues of concern among my constituents, what may come as a surprise to many is that Hinkler has historically received less defence spending than any other electorate in the country. Given the high unemployment rate in my region, that is something I'd like to see remedied. I've written to the Minister for Defence to put forward 3 long-term proposals that are being worked on by the Hinkler community. They'd like to see a naval maintenance base established at the Port of Bundaberg and for a Niagara Barracks to be relocated to the Fraser Coast when it outgrows its current Brisbane site. An advisory group has also been established to produce a business case for the recently decommissioned HMAS Tobruk to be sunk in the Wide Bay to create a military dive wreck and a fish breeding ground. It would complement our Fraser Coast Military Heritage Trail and the Rats of Tobruk Memorial in Bundaberg. It would create an additional tourism industry to keep boats in the water when the whales and nesting sea turtles are not present. It's a plan that would be of enormous benefit to our local economy, one that would see a military asset continue to serve the people of Australia well after its retirement. And finally, I'd just like to commend the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for Defence, Darren Chester MP. for his oversight of the Parliamentary Exchange Program. It is a very worthwhile venture that benefits current ADF members, parliamentarians and indeed our veterans communities. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
I thank the member for Hinkler and I call for a seconder for the motion.
I'm happy to second the motion.
Thank you, and I'll call the member for Gellibrand.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Well, I'm very pleased to second the motion for the House today, put by the member for Hinkler, because as he mentioned, in April this year, I joined the member for Dobell, the member for Gippsland, the Parliamentary Secretary, the member for Solomon and Senator Lisa Singh in the other place, and travelling to the Middle East region and Afghanistan to see firsthand the work being done by our Australian Defence Force personnel overseas. And I can say that you don't really know how unfit you really are until you take part in an ADF training session. On our arrival in Afghanistan, the parliamentary delegation was taken outside and put through our paces in a series of gruelling drills. Our drill was one that ADF personnel practice routinely, dragging someone out of an army truck and 150 metres down the road by their bulletproof jacket while strapped with